Hello, YouTube fans, here again. And I think I'll do this one. Why not? Why not? I'll give you two. Classic film. Now, normally when I talk about classic films, they'll either be the 60s, a little bit of the 60s, as I say. They'll either be the 70s, 80s, but very rarely do classic films. Okay. I don't lie, I've sometimes done King Kong. I have spoke about Dracula, about all the Dracula films, including the 1931 classic. And so this is a classic, and to give people too, why not? We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. He is. I'm not doing the rest. That's right, the Wizard of Oz. And with Julie Diamond, I can never pronounce the name right. I can never pronounce the name right, but I'm just going to say a character name. Well-known actress in that golden era, that being Dorothy. And I'm going to go with The Wizard of Oz. It's a musical, it's ahead of its time, and we all know it was taken off a book. Now, for people who may or may not know, you want to talk about classic films, it wasn't the first Wizard of Oz. Technically, it's a remake, but with this one, I could give it leeway because the original was what 1920 something, 1900 something. It was a silent movie, and as you know, it was taken off a book. Now, the writer did a lot of these books, Oz this, Oz that. He also did Return of Oz, which would later be a feature film as well in the mid-80s. But this one was a classic from 1939, The Wizard of Oz. So we're going to go with it. We've got brown and white, which started coming off the 1930s. You ever had black and white, you had brown and white and all this. But this was the end of its time. This was when... This always got me actually, because I always wondered if this was the first Technicolor film. And as you know, Technicolor, when it come out in the 30s, like, it used to come out the same day when Gone with the Wind come out. We all know Gone with the Wind. That was also a classic. And that was also one of the very, very early Technicolor films. And I always wonder whether this was the first one what come out and they were showing it off. Hey man, we just made colour. It's not the best, but for its time, it was ahead of its time. So, like I say, it first comes out brown and white. You've got a young girl, Dorothy. She lives on a farm and so on. You've got this horrible old lady. It's funny enough, she wasn't that old when she did this, so she played the role of an old woman. And basically, she's threatening to take the dog called Toto. It's a nuisance and all this, and so on. And so she sings that song, Somewhere Over the Rainbow, classic song, Somewhere Over the Rainbow. I'll do the rest. And then they get a windstorm. And some of the effects in this are pretty good actually, I've got to admit. Again, I'm going to keep saying the same word all the way through it, ahead of its time. You can totally see why this film became a total classic. She runs in the house, the other family are stuck, blows the house about, it's classic. And I do love the bit she's opening the window and you see this woman, that fine, looks like a witch, which I do remember in what would have been the last Elm Street film, Freddy's Final Nightmare. So I said, serious there. So I do a love letter with that as Freddy. I always noticed they did a love letter to this film. So like I say, she tasses her house, wakes up and opens the door. And I love the bit, I've always loved the bit where she opens the door and it turns to Technicolor. And again, that I say, I'm repeating it ahead of its time. Again, the Technicolor is not a lot to run home about, but for its time, I think they were just showing off the, hey man, we've now made colour. But even that's history. You find out she splattered the wicked witch off the left, and the wicked witch of the left. So I'm confused here. She splatters the wicked witch off the left, and then the wicked witch of the right comes in, which is played by the same actress as the old woman. And it's kind of sad, really. I always cry when I watch this film because a lot of all the actors are sadly no longer with us. May they rest. And there's a lot of history about this film, a lot of history. Like the actor that played the Turtle burnt his face with the makeup. The actor that played the Tin Man weakened his heart with the costume he was wearing. the tablets, the actors who started there to have tablets, what towards their life as days went on. And there was a lot of history about this film. Apparently, one of the actors played a Mumstin. This is a very interesting one. Hung himself, as if it was a rumour or not. There's always said it was a rumour. It's been saw on the VHS version, the very early VHS version, that he sees his body and he's dangling along the rope. It's the saddle of his body, which always had me wondering if there's some truth in that. Because when it's been rebought out in a remastered one, they suddenly alter that with CGI and bought a bird running along. So it has me wondering, is it true or not? But there's always been debates and rumours when The Wizard of Oz was made. So just a little bit of history there. So there's a bit, like I say, she tries to get these shoes, red shoes, to go into Dorothy's feet. You've got the Dudwicks, and she sends her on a mission to look for basically the Wizard of Oz. So on the way, she's with Dorothy, the dog called Toto, and she meets, I think, I'm trying to remember, does she meet the Turtle first or the Tin Man? Oh, fuck it. She meets the Turtle. And then they sing that song, we're off to see the Wizard. I won't do the rest. Halfway through it, she meets the Tin Man. He sings that song, If I Only Had a Heart. Oh, well, before that, I think the Turtle saying, If I Only Had a brain. Yeah, I think it was a brain. Need a fucking brain to figure how it went. So, like I say, they sing that song again. I think that could be the bit where you do see the actor who's supposed to be the Mumstin hanging around. It could be that the bit where they meet the Cowardly Lion. It's one or the other. So they meet the Cowardly Lion. He's trying to attack him. Dorothy slaps him on and he cries like a fucking baby. And next bit when he wants courage. And then they sing that song. And that could be the bit. That could be the bit. I remember mentioning it. Look at the history of this. One of the actors that played the Mumstin apparently suffered depression. And he hung himself, and it started on set, and then days later they had to re-alter it. Now, whether there's truth in that, or it's just a silly rumour, is a different story. But like I said, there's a lot of history. The actor that played the turtle burnt his face because of the makeup, so on. And like I said, they get there, and I think right there, They meet, there's a lot of adventures on the way. Like the Witch starts to dope them up, starts to knock them out here and there. But then eventually they get to the castle of the Wizard and he frightens them. He tells them they've got to kill the Witch in order to get the red, to end it all. And the Witch wants the red shoes. But like I said, there's a good bit in it. I love the bit where there's a horse. And that's what I mean, this film does have a lot of imagination. And you've got to respect Wizard of Oz. A lot of people know it and it's a classic for a reason. Without the Wizard of Oz, you wouldn't have had films like Labyrinth. You wouldn't have had films, let's say, like Warlock, or films, let's say, like, don't think of every fantasy film going, Never Ending Story. You'd never have films like that if it weren't because of the films like this. That I'm just saying. But at the end of the day, I love the bit where there's a horse, and it changes different chorus, and again, they're singing another song. There was supposed to be a scene what they had actually cut out at several people. Again, a lot of history of this film. You've got the Wicked Witch, and she's firing a word, but they had to cut some of the words because there's a bit where she says a word like, I will kill you, Dorothy, if I don't get them shoes. Because of that error, they felt that was a bit frightening. So some of the word was timmed down, and whether it's lost now, or it's never seen the light of day, different story. But apparently there was a rumour that some of that had been simmed down because they thought at that era a bit too frightening. So they go to find the Witch, they go to Finger, the Witch starts to attack, she throws fire at the turtle, Dorothy gets water, throws it, accidentally hits the Witch. She says the turtle, but it's the Witch at the same time. And the Witch melts. I love the bit, I'm melting. Which again, a lot of films imitate that. I remember Batman, Tim Burton's Batman. Jack Nicholson sort of imitated that. And they go back. The Wizard's starting to be fighting. I said Witch. The Wizard's starting to be fighting. Toto finds out it's this old guy, but then this evil monster. But he does help him out. I'll give him his due. He helps him out. he loved the advice it is, like, you don't need courage, you always add it to the lion, you've always had it, but you've never knew you had it. You don't need an art, you've got an art of gold, something like that. He says something to the turtle, you are smart of thinking. So he basically says more advice, but he just done if he wants, he wants. He taps his shoes, says that line, there's no place like home, no place like home. Beautiful way to do it. Then it goes back in brown and white. And it always leaves me thinking, did she dream all this? Was it imagination? Was he hallucinating it? Was she smoking a bit of coke on the sly? Was she drunk? Did she have too many berries when she was singing? Because she wakes up, people say it was only a dream. And then it has, it's that error when you have the end. So you get the end, and it's the end of the film. But I can see why The Wizard of Oz became a cult classic. It was taken off a best-selling book. They changed it to a musical. I do know the book is slightly different. There's even one in the book where the wizard gets killed. There's different versions of the book, you know what I mean? And the book, I do know, is a lot darker in places, which you can definitely see why in 1939 they had to lighten it up and they made it into a musical. And like I said, there's different versions, the sequels to the book. There's loads. Look it up, the history, and the fan history is more interesting than the film. But the film is a classic. I can see why it's a classic. I can see why a lot of fantasy films followed that phase of I can think of originally Betty Dable was going to play the role of Dorothy, but she never did that. But she did another fantasy film, very good film. I remember seeing that one. And like I say, you can definitely see it had a lot of history. How it can definitely became a classic. Still is a classic. You can be on TV, you can get it on VHS, you can get it on DVD. A lot of sad history. A lot of actors got ill when making the film. Even the Ritz burnt her face because of the makeup she was wearing. I do remember there was fire in his face, snow, but because it had something, they didn't know at the time how deadly this was. I think it caused one of the actors later in life to get cancer. So there's a lot of history of this film, a lot of interesting history, a lot of background story, like the Munchkin, the actor who played one of the Munchkins, hung himself. Saying that, some of the actors have denied that over the years and said it's a load of BS. Some have actually said it's true. But, like I say, it's a good fantasy film. It's arts on its sleeve. It is a classic. Come out the same year when another classic come out, being Gone with the Wind. And I think at the time, The Wizard of Oz and Gone with the Wind, they both were on the air of winning an award. But Gone with the Wind won the award. But saying that, The Wizard of Oz is still a cult classic. So I'm off to see The Wizard. Fuck it. It is a classic. It's ahead of its time. I know I keep saying that. But it definitely made a lot of other fantasy films. That's how I see it. So for that, and they don't make films like this anymore, I don't know how many star ratings I dived it, but I'll just say about 30 because it is a classic. But either them, be smart, be safe, and I'm off to see The Wizard. See you later.